ReeferGil here, bringing you a 2-year anniversary update on the livestock of my system. I want to take a second to thank each and every one of you for the tremendous amount of support you've shown this channel over the last 2 years. I also want to give a big shout out to Joey Mullen, the king of DIY, for successfully achieving 100,000 subscribers, an achievement that no other YouTuber with aquarium related videos has ever achieved or even come close to achieving. So congratulations, Joey.
Here's a shot of my 3 female Barlet Anthias. They tend to stay on the right side of the tank here as you see them. They are schooling fish, so they stay together, which is pretty cool. When I first got these guys, I was a little apprehensive because everything I read said that they require multiple feedings per day because they have small or no stomachs or something like that. I found that not to be true. I feed them just like I feed all the other fish, twice a day, the same amount of food, and they've been thriving in my tank for 2 years. I had hoped that one of these guys would turn into a male. That hasn't happened in the last 2 years. So my recent visit to Reefapalooza, I picked up a male Anthias that is currently in the quarantine tank. I'll do a separate video on that later, but I'm hoping that things go well when he's finally introduced into the tank. The male Anthias that I picked up is much smaller than all 3 of these females, so that's going to be interesting. These guys need plenty of hiding spaces as they like to sleep within the rocks. They grow a maximum of 3.5 inches in length and require at least 70 gallons to thrive in a system. If you're looking for entertainment, then look no further than the Barnacle Bili. This guy is super cool, fun to watch. He will bury his body in the rockwork or in an empty shell, exposing only his head, similar to that of an eel. His eyes will shift from left to right, up and down. Really fun to watch this guy. He's very cute too. I have 2 of them in the tank, and I absolutely love these guys. They're very easy to care for. They'll eat any kind of pellets or any other foods that are introduced into the tank. When I feed them, they will shoot out of the rock, grab their food, and then shoot right back into the rock. They only require a minimum of 10 gallons and will grow up to 2 inches in length. I love these guys, and like I said, they're very fun to watch. Here's my pair of black and white Ocellaris clowns. I bought them when they were little babies. I went to the local fish store and he had a tank full of these guys, so I picked out 2 of them. As soon as I put them into the tank, they took to the anemone right away, and they've been there ever since. They very rarely venture far away from the anemone, and they're always together and on the right side of the tank here. If you're new to the hobby and would like a pair of clownfish, it's important to note that the females cannot turn male. Only males can turn into female. Once they are a female, they cannot turn back into a male. So be careful buying 2 large clownfish, as you may be purchasing 2 females, and if you're hoping for a pair, you won't get them because they're both female and can't switch back to being a male. These fish are considered peaceful. Well, that is until you put your hand near the anemone and they will attack you, and believe me, it hurts when they bite down. They only require a minimum tank size of 20 gallons and they can grow up to 3 inches long. They do very well in pairs, and they will often spawn once they become of age and if the conditions in the tank are correct. Unfortunately, I have not seen these guys spawn at all, but I'm hoping that one day they will. If you ask me, a reef tank isn't a reef tank unless you have a pair of clownfish inside of it. Really cool fish to watch, and they swim quite clumsy like in the water. Here's a Molineres Wrasse. You can see its body is blue and green with horizontal blue, yellow, red and green stripes. Very pretty colors on this fish. It does require a substrate of sand to be about 2 to 3 inches, and that's because this guy is pretty unique. These wrasses will bury themselves when they go to sleep. They'll bury themselves when they're frightened, especially when you first introduce them into a system. They'll bury themselves for up to several days, so the hobbyist believes that the wrasse may have jumped out of the tank or has died, when in actuality it's just buried underneath the sand. I have seen my wrasse grab and pick up snails and kill the snail inside. I have also noticed empty snail shells on the sand bed, so I've repopulated my tank with additional snails, so I'll keep an eye on him for that kind of behavior. These guys should be in a tank that's at least 50 gallons and will grow approximately 4.5 inches in length. I do have video of my wrasse actually burying himself in the sand. He buries himself anywhere between 12 a.m. and 12:10 a.m. So I set up the camera and caught him in the act. So here's a shot of that. Very cool. He does kick up a sandstorm and does kick some sand onto the clams, but It's what he does, and just needs to be able to bury himself in the tank. Very cool fish here. I get asked more questions about the flame angel than any other fish I have in the tank, and the number one question I get is a flame angel reef safe, and the answer is, well, yes and no. I've talked to several reefers who've had flame angels in their reef tanks. Some of them have said that their flame angel is a model citizen, while other ones have said that the flame angel has done nothing but wreak complete havoc over their reef tank and eventually had to remove them. And I've also heard of flame angels that have been great in the system for several years and all of a sudden developed an appetite for the corals. So you just don't know what you're going to get. You're definitely rolling the dice when you get a flame angel or any other kind of dwarf angel in your tank. I've had mine in the system for about a year and a half, and so far I'm very, very happy. Yeah, I've never seen them pick at any of the coral. Once in a while, when I introduce a frag plug that's been at the LFS in their tank for a while, develop some algae on it, put it in my tank, it will start picking at the frag plug. It might look like it's picking at the coral, but it's really picking at the frag plug and eating the algae off of that. And great community member as far as for the other fish. It will eat anything I put in the tank. It is territorial only toward other dwarf angelfish. The dwarf angel will grow to a maximum size of about 4 inches, and you would probably want a minimum size of 70 gallons or bigger to house these guys. But they're beautiful fish and definitely an eye catcher. Here's my yellow Watchman Goby paired up with the tiger pistol shrimp. These guys have a symbiotic relationship in that the shrimp relies on the goby for its eyesight, and the goby relies on the shrimp to dig down tunnels in the sand, as well as rely on it for food. The minimum tank size for these guys is 30 gallons. Although it's fun watching the Watchman Goby stand guard at the entrance of the cave while the pistol shrimp pushes sand out, these things could be a pain in the butt if you have corals in the sand bed. They'll push the corals over, cover them up with sand, and also create sandstorms in your tank. So I would get these guys with caution. If you don't have anything in the sand bed, then they'll be a fun addition to have in your tank. I have had a banded shrimp that I put in the tank about a year ago. After I put him in the tank, I never saw him again, and it was just recently, a year later, that I saw the little guy pop out from underneath the rock. He's all alone. He doesn't have Watchman Goby. Wanted to pair it up with the tiger pistol shrimp instead, but this poor little guy is in the tank by himself, blind, and I guess he's doing pretty well because he's been alive for a year and he's finding his own food without any problems. Very frequently you'll hear a loud snapping sound coming from the tank, and that's the pistol shrimps making that snapping sound. You could hear it from clear across the room. Sometimes even if it's late at night, I'm in another room, I'll hear them snapping, but it's pretty neat to hear. Other than that, the only thing that you should know about the Watchman Goby is that they do not do well if you put another goby in the tank. They become territorial and you'll have issues, but they are fun to watch. Like I said, unfortunately I've had my fill of fun with these guys and would like to get them out of the tank. Next up is my Harlequin Shrimp. They are a pair. They roam around the tank together, always side by side. These guys are really cool looking shrimp. They get along with the other shrimp, so there are no issues whatsoever as far as being territorial. I introduced the pair of Harlequin Shrimp about 7 months ago. I had an Astorina starfish infestation. The starfish were all over the back glass, front of the glass, on the rock, and started infesting my zoa garden. So about 2 to 3 months after introducing the pair of Harlequin Shrimp, they completely eradicated the Astorina starfish issue. Because they only eat starfish and certain types of sea urchins, I now feed them chocolate chip starfish. I will buy a handful of them from my local fish store for about $8 each and place the chocolate chip starfish in my sump area. Once every month and a half, I'll feed the Harlequin Shrimp a chocolate chip starfish, and that'll hold them over until the next feeding a month and a half later. They do have claws, but they only have them for show, as they do not use these for hunting or any other reason other than having them for show, maybe to fend off any potential predators. And like I said, they are peace mates and will reach a maximum size of approximately 1.5 inches in length. Really cool shrimp to have in the tank. While at Reefapalooza in Costa Mesa, California, I picked up this purple dottyback and a male Anthias, a Barlet Anthia. Brought them home. It was late at night. Filled up the quarantine tank, which was fallow, for 2 years. Acclimated the fish and put them into the quarantine tank. When I woke up in the morning, I found a puddle of water on the ground, and saw that half the tank was empty. I realized I had a crack in the back of the tank that I was unaware of, so I removed the fish, and rather than putting the dotty back into a bucket waiting for the new quarantine to come, I decided to put it straight into the display tank since they're not as susceptible to ick as other fish. And as you can see here, he's doing just great and eating. The purple dottyback is a peaceful tank mate. However, if you introduce a fish of a similar species with a similar body, it will become aggressive and territorial. Purple dottybacks do need ample hiding places as they are a shy fish by nature. The body of the purple dottyback is a bright purple or magenta color, really pretty. It grows up to 3 inches and needs a minimum tank size of 30 gallons. Here's my prize fish, the purple tang. Really beautiful fish with its dark blue purple body, yellow tail, yellow pectoral fins. It will grow to about 10 inches in length, so it needs ample swimming space. It'll eat anything I put into the tank, but it does get a special diet twice a week of nori, as well as frozen mysis and frozen cyclopses. Unfortunately, they can become very territorial towards other tangs with similar bodies, and also they are very prone to ick. So if you do get a tang, I would highly recommend that you quarantine it for about 30 days before introducing it into the display tank, because they are prone to ick, and you definitely don't want to be introducing that into your tank if you could help it. But like you can see here, it's just an awesome looking fish. Really love them. For several days I tried to get my fire shrimp on video. You guys are gonna have to trust me on this one. I do have a fire shrimp in the tank. He's in the back. He hides behind the rocks on the right side, but I just couldn't get any video of him. He's extremely shy shrimp, and that's unfortunate because he's really, really beautiful. He's got a bright red body with white polka dots on it. I'm gonna flash some photos that I randomly picked up off the internet. Unfortunately, that's the best I can do because, like I said, I couldn't get them on video. But you can see how red they are and the white polka dots. They grow to about 2 inches in length. Very peaceful shrimp, even towards other shrimp of its own kind. It'll clean the other fish as they pass by, including their mouths, just like the skunk shrimp does. But other than that, it's unfortunate that it's so shy, because I would really love to see this guy a lot more often. Unlike the fire shrimp, the skunk shrimp is very interactive. He's not shy at all, always out and about looking for food. Whenever I put my arm into the tank, once in a while he'll scare the crap out of me because he'll climb up on my arm and actually pinch down, sometimes kind of hard. He likes to perch himself on rocks and wait for fish to pass by, and he'll jump on the fish, start picking at the dead skin, any parasites off of the fish itself. Also, we'll set up a community dentist office and pick the mouths of the fish as they swim by. Very cool looking shrimp. Awesome addition to the cleanup crew collection. And like I said, very interactive and fun to watch in the tank. You could see when I first got this guy, he was tiny. They can grow up to 2 inches in length. This guy's probably maxed out in size, but he molts all the time. Unlike the other shrimp, he molts probably the most. At least from what I can tell, I'll always find his molts hanging off the overflow or against the MP40. The starry blenny. This guy is truly a character. Love watching him. He doesn't swim, he hops. He hops from one perch spot to the next. He's really fun to watch. He just sits there. You can see his eyes shifting left and right, up and down. He's got this little white mustache going on, and he will actually interact with you when you stand in front of the tank. Really fun fish to watch. He'll mostly eat on algae, so he also grazes on the rocks and on the glass. But he will also eat anything I introduce into the tank, so that's really cool. He's very peaceful towards the other tank mates, except if you put another starry blenny or any other kind of blenny with a similar body in the tank, they will become territorial. They require a minimum of 30 gallons and will grow about 5.5 inches. You should probably have a lot of hiding spots for this guy, as he likes to go into the rocks and hide out. But a lot of fun to watch this fish hop around the tank.
That'll do it for this video. Stay tuned for additional videos to come. Thank you guys for watching, and again, thank you for all your support.